On the march for independence, tens of thousands took to the streets of Glasgow in the rain at the weekend. Just a few weeks after the First Minister's call for Holyrood to have the power to hold another independence referendum. Today, Boris Johnson replied to Nicola Sturgeon by letter, saying, "I cannot agree to any request for a transfer of power that would lead to further independence referendums."
If the people keep saying yes to parties in favour of an independence referendum, who are you? Who's Boris Johnson to say no?
Well, it's the people of Scotland who said no. They said no to the SNP in 2014. They said no to the idea of independence. And this general election has told us that voters do not like it when you do not respect referendum results.
We have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to chart a new course for our country.
That once-in-a-generation line was commonly used by yes-supporting politicians in 2014. And in the agreement that made that referendum possible, both sides undertook to respect the outcome. Then there was the cross-party Smith Commission recommending more powers for Holyrood and making clear that there's nothing to stop Scotland becoming independent in future if that's what Scottish voters want. Now the Scottish Government argues it's time to put the question again, because the Brexit deal working its way through Parliament here at Westminster amounts to a fundamental change in the circumstances that existed during the last independence referendum campaign.
The right thing to do is to get this referendum during this calendar year, during the period of transition, and make sure that a decision is reached during this calendar year. Scotland's businesses need that security. Scotland's people have asked for that to happen. A Prime Minister cannot stand against that, and the Scottish Government will not let him stand against it.
Having ruled out a referendum without Westminster agreement, what might the First Minister do next?
Her options are more political, really. They're likely to use this hard no from the UK government to try and increase support for independence or for a referendum by kind of claiming that the UK government is denying the Scottish people their rights.
So could it backfire on Boris Johnson?
Yeah, potentially, if we see that it does increase support for independence.
To counter the independence movement, the UK government's expected to renew the case for continued union. Competition for Scottish hearts and minds is far from over. Glenn Campbell, reporting Scotland.